Chapter 8, Part 2. After the big blobs of tears stopped, he said, "At least they treated us like grown-ups. That letter is full of big words and all." "Big deal," Claudia sobbed. "For all they know, we are grown-ups." She was trying to find a corner of her shredded Kleenex that she could use. Jamie let her sniff some. Then he quietly asked, "What do we do now? Go home?" "What? Go home now? We haven't even got our clothes, and your radio is in the violin case. We'd have to go home absolutely empty-handed." "We could leave our clothes. They are all gray anyway." "But we never even use your radio. How can we face them at home? Without the radio and all. With nothing." She paused for a minute and repeated, "With nothing. We have accomplished nothing." "We accomplished having fun," Jamie suggested. "Wasn't that what you wanted when we started out, Claude?" "I always thought it was." Claudia began big tears again. "But that was then," she sobbed. "You said you'd go home after you knew about Angel. Now you know." "That's it," she sobbed. "I do not know." "You know that you don't know, just as the people of the museum don't know. Come on," he pleaded. "We will enjoy telling them about how we lived in the museum. The violin case can be evidence. Do you realize that we have lived there a whole week?" "Yes," Claudia sighed. "Just a week. I feel as if I jumped into a lake to rescue a boy, and what I thought was a boy turned out to be a wet, fat log. Some heroine that makes. All wet for nothing." The tears flowed again. "You sure are getting wet. You started this adventure just running away, comfortably. Then the day before yesterday you decided you had to be a hero, too." "Heroine! And how should I have known that I wanted to be a heroine when I had no idea I wanted to be a heroine? The statue just gave me a chance, almost gave me a chance. We need to make more of a discovery." "So do the people at the museum. What more of discovery do you think that you, Claudia Kingcat, girl runaway, can make? A tape recording of Michelangelo saying, 'I did it'? Well, I will clue you in. They didn't have tape recorders 470 years ago." "I know that, but if we make a real discovery, I will know how to go back to Greenwich." "You take the New Haven, silly. Same way as we got here." Jamie was losing patience. "That's not what I mean. I want to know how to go back to Greenwich differently." Jamie shook his head. "If you want to go different, you can take a subway to 125th Street and then take the train." "I didn't say differently. I said different. I want to go back different. I, Claudia Kingcat, want to be different when I go back, like being a heroine is being different." "Claudia, I will tell you one thing you can do differently." "Differently." "One thing you can do differently," Claudia interrupted. "Oh, baloney, Claude, that's exactly it. You can stop ending every single discussion with an argument about grammar." "I will try," Claudia said quietly. Jamie was surprised at her quiet manner, but he continued to be businesslike. "Now about this discovery. Jamie, I want to know if Michelangelo did it. I can't explain why exactly, but I feel that I have got to know, for sure, one way or the other. A real discovery is going to help me. If the experts don't know for sure, I don't mind not knowing. Let's get tickets for home." Jamie started toward the New Haven ticket window. Claudia stayed behind. Jamie realized that she was not following, returned to her, and lectured. "You are never satisfied, Claude. If you get all A's, you wonder where are the pluses. You start out just running away, and you end up wanting to know everything. Wanting to be Joan of Arc, Clara Barton, and Florence Nightingale all in one." "Nightingale," Claudia sighed. She got up then and followed slowly behind her brother. But she was feeling too low to go home. She couldn't. She just couldn't. It just wasn't right. There were only 2 windows that didn't say closed. They waited a short while as the man in front of them purchased a red computer pass like the one that had brought them to Manhattan. Jamie addressed the man behind the counter and said, "2 half-fare tickets for Farmington, Connecticut," Claudia broke in. "To get to Farmington, you have to go to Hartford and take a bus," the ticket agent said. Jamie nodded to the man and said, "Just a minute, please." He stepped away from the window. Grabbing Claudia's arm, he pulled her away. Claudia whispered, "Mrs. Basil E. Frankwell." "What about Mrs. Basil E. Frankwiller?" "She lives in Farmington." "So what?" Jamie said. "The paper said that her house was closed." "Her New York house was closed. Can't you read anything right?" "You talk that way, Claude, and—" "All right, Jamie, all right. I shouldn't talk that way, but please let's go to Farmington. Jamie, please. Can't you see how badly I need to find out about Angel? I just have a hunch she will see us and that she knows." "I've never known you to have a hunch before, Claude. You usually plan everything." "I have too. Had a hunch before." "When?" "That night. They moved the statue and I stayed in the washroom and didn't get caught. That was a hunch, even if I didn't know it was a hunch at the time." "Okay, we will go to Farmington," Jamie said. He marched to the ticket window and brought message to Hartford. They were waiting at track 27 when Claudia said to Jamie, "That's a first for you too." What is?" he asked. "Buying something without asking the price first." "Oh, I must have done that before now," he answered. "When? Name one time." "I can't think of it right now." He thought a minute, then said, "I haven't been a tightwad all my life, have I?" "As long as I have known you," Claudia answered. "Well, you have known me for as long as I have known me," he said, smiling. "Yes," Claudia said, "I've been the oldest child since before you were born." They enjoyed the train ride. A large portion of it went over a track they had never before seen. Claudia arrived in Hartford feeling much happier than she had since they received the morning's mail. Her self-assurance had returned to her. The Hartford station was on Farmington Avenue. Claudia reasoned that they could not be far from Farmington itself. Why take a bus and worry about which stop to get off? Without consulting Jamie, she hailed a cab. When it stopped, she got in. Jamie followed. Claudia told the driver to take them to the house of Mrs. Basil E. Frankwiller in Farmington, Connecticut. Claudia sat back in a taxi at last. And that, Saxonburg, is how I enter the story. Claudia and Jamie Kincaid came to see me about Angel.